Please join me in welcoming Jeremy Goldberg from the Mayor's Office. Thank you.
A few years ago, I sat in the crowd during the 2014 demo day at San Francisco City Hall. And at that time, I was more than eager and impressed to figure out, well, one, I don't have a startup, but I'm incredibly interested in that intersection of public and private partnerships and the opportunities that exist for startups to be able to come in, share their talent, and the opportunities to learn and to build and collaborate together. And so who knew that a couple years later I'd have the opportunity to work with Jay Nath, the city's Chief Innovation Officer, and Kathleen Clark from the Department of Technology to help establish this program as a longer-term effort over the next 3 years in the city, regionally, and beyond that. So without further ado, to get us started and to kick it off, Jay Nath and Kathleen Clark.
From my perspective, when we launched this program, we had this hypothesis, that when you're thinking about these big problems that we're facing in society, we in City Hall can't do it alone. We need to work across sectors. We need to be collaborative. We need to be open. And when you think about all the impact that startups have made in our communities and industries, they have yet to make that similar impact in public service. So huge, huge opportunity for us. With that idea, we launched in 2014. There was no playbook. We didn't know what the response was going to be like, and so we were overwhelmed by the response. We had nearly 200 startups from 25 cities and countries respond to that call to participate and work on our challenges. We selected 6 of those of the best startups to work with our agencies, and they were working across public safety, across healthcare issues. And the one that we want to share and talk about is sort of our star example. It was with our department, the airport, SFO. They have 50 million passengers, and the thing that they asked us was, how do you help us improve the experience for people who are blind or visually impaired to navigate through the airport? It's hard enough for people who are without disabilities to navigate through an airport. So what can technology do to improve that? And a company from Vienna, Austria responded to that. So again, just a global response, and innovation can happen anywhere. And that's one of the things that we want to show.
I am here on behalf of the Department of Technology and on behalf of Miguel Gamino, who is the city CIO. This is the first time that the STIR teams will be in DT, and we're really excited for the opportunity to create an environment that will hopefully allow for deeper collaboration and sharing between startups and government. We're really looking forward to just being able to learn from you and hope that you will be able to learn from us as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And why don't we roll the video of the work that we did with SFO and with Lighthouse for the Blind.
Navigating through an airport can be tough for anyone. And for visually impaired passengers, there are some special challenges. But now there's a solution. The San Francisco Mayor's Office of Civic Innovation has paired SFO with Indoors, a technology company specializing in indoor navigation, to develop a mobile application to allow visually impaired passengers to travel through the airport more easily. With the help of these electronic beacons located throughout the terminal, a passenger can use the mobile application to find points of interest located in their general proximity, starting at the terminal entrance, all the way to the gate, and at the baggage claim when you return to SFO. Using the accessibility feature of the phone, these points of interest can be recited back to the passenger as they walk through Terminal 2 at SFO. This is made possible by the beacons installed throughout the terminal. Each beacon broadcasts a unique signal, and the phone picks up signals from multiple beacons to establish its location, advising the passenger about what is nearby.
Compass books 5 o'clock 31 feet.
The phone app will tell a passenger when they're near a restaurant, a water fountain, even an electrical outlet. One of the challenges for our project team was to complete a working prototype within 16 weeks. With input from Lighthouse for the Blind, SFO and Indoors gathered the requirements to build this mobile application with priority on accessibility. While the application was being built, the SFO team was responsible for getting the points of interest into the system. The beacons were strategically placed to blend in with the environment and to provide adequate signal coverage at the same time. The entire terminal was scanned to map the beacon transmissions. Finally, the system was configured and users could test the mobile application. By the way, this application can be used by sighted passengers, and eventually a language translation feature will be added for our international passengers traveling through SFO. Happy travels from SFO.
I'm Brian Bashan. I'm the CEO of the Lighthouse for the Blind in San Francisco. We are a 114-year-old organization which feels every day like a startup ourselves. And in fact, in about 2 weeks, we're going to open up our new headquarters 2 blocks down the street at 1155 Market Street. I want to tell you a little bit of the story behind the video you just saw, because as a blind traveler myself, and being a person who's gone through SFO probably hundreds of times, I know the little twists and turns. I can get from BART to the AirTrain onto United Terminal 3 to the desk and to my gate, well, literally with my eyes closed. And you know, it takes a lot of experience to learn how to do that, like a trained rat in a maze. But for the average blind person, that's daunting. And luckily, we are living in an age now where more blind people are working, more blind people are traveling independently and visiting family and friends, going to conferences and doing all the things everybody else does. But this was a problem, and after 911, with the additional security, barricades, twists and turns, all the things that are in modern airports now, traveling is not as fun as it used to be. So I happened to mention that to Airport Director John Martin, who's really an embodiment of innovation and nimbleness, and he connected with the Mayor's Innovation Office, and we started this conversation, and soon we started working with Indoors, this Austrian company, and they knew what we wanted. They had an app already written. I think probably everybody here knows that any iPhone or most of the Android phones now have built-in accessibility. In 30 seconds, any of your phones, we can make it talk. And that's sort of at the heart of this idea. And soon after the conversation got going, the folks from Austria said, we realized everything we were doing was wrong. That the entire concept of how this should work, what an app should look like, what an individual needs who's blind was wrong. And so in the spirit of innovation, they just sat down with it and we invented this app the way it should work. And as the video said, in 16 weeks, we went from an idea to a working actual system. And the Terminal 2 at SFO at the time in 2014 was the single richest indoor navigation site on the planet. So that was an app that got huge interest from all over the planet. And we were so eager to get it from Terminal 2 to the rest of the airport. And herein lies a story for you as we think about innovation. There's a possibility of doing a glittering, wonderful demonstration, and then what do you do? Well, just to be honest, things in the contracting and RFP process have taken now about 1.5 years. We still don't have version 2.0. We still don't have GPS in the rest of the airport. This is not an innovation office issue, but all of a sudden your bright ideas, and in this case this one, meets the realities of city RFPs and contracting and all of that. And so we're ready to innovate. We want to design 2.0. We think it's a really good and cool thing. But I think as much as the initial concept was the follow-through and the procurement issues that are common to every city, that's something that should be part of your plan, we think. In the case of people with disabilities, the best practice is talk to us. It's as simple as that. We can put a program through its paces. We can find out accessibility barriers. We can, in fact, co-invent things that are a little more elegant than you can possibly imagine. I'm just wondering, I'd like to know from this group together, how many of you have had experience dealing with any part of your process in software, apps, or design that involve people with disabilities? Say aye. Not so many. Okay. Well, we use almost everything that you guys design. And we're not shy about saying what we need, and we're not shying about what works. We'd love to be part of that conversation. In the case of people who are blind and visually impaired, it's the Lighthouse. Other disabilities have, this is the cradle. The Bay Area is the cradle of the disability advocacy movement. So you will not have any problem finding people that will be articulate and experienced to help in that initial design conversation. Luckily, we live in an age where technology stands to really, really help people of all kinds in this state and elsewhere. I'll give you an example of how city services and government services could be helpful. How many times have I had to sign a document? I don't know what it could be the rental agreement for rental housing or some other thing in which I have to get a wet signature on a piece of paper, find a stamp, put it in an envelope. Really? Is this what we're doing in 2016? It's doubly hard if you can't see the thing and then you have to get somebody to read it and write in some sort, fill out paper forms. I mean, if the city or government needs something signed, what about using DocuSign or some of the electronic verified signatures? Now, that particular company has some accessibility issues too. But I think that one way to innovate, not just for the blind, because yeah, it would be helpful to us, but we have found over and over again that some of the things that are helpful for us will be helpful for everybody else. Who wants to go to the post office, buy a stamp, do all that kind of thing where you can just do a few clicks online and take care of some city business? So I want to conclude by just encouraging you to innovate, and always in that conversation, the early conversation, come and talk to us. That produced a wonderful result 2 years ago with SFO, and it will produce great stuff in the future. So I want to thank you very much for your attention. Okay?
I'm delighted to be part of this. It's so exciting to see what's happening, and I think I'm here really because I represent, as many of you do, the greater movement, and the fact that there are brothers and sisters and cousins in this space together who all see the potential, the way that we can make our communities work better by bringing together this disruptive power of technology, these iterative processes, this inclusive framework together with government, because we need government to work in the 21st century, and that's not gonna happen if a bunch of people don't get involved. As Jay said, City Hall can't do it alone. It has to be government by the people, and that's what I see happening here today, is people coming together with their own unique perspectives to work in a system that certainly has its challenges, but also has been proven over the past couple of years to be so open to the innovations that the people bring to it. It takes time. And one of the things I would reflect on in that taking time is that if we have something in common as brothers and sisters and cousins in this movement, it isn't so much a love for technology's sake. It's an understanding of how technology can improve our lives, but more importantly, the fact that to get to those outcomes that really do work for people, that work for all people, you can't plan it for 2 years in a silo and then think it's gonna work in the world. What I see as the common thread around this movement is that iterative, user-centered, and data-driven approach that says, sure, the first time we might not get it all right, and it might not work for all people, but we're committed not to leaving it at that first step. We're committed to taking that process further, understanding what our users actually need out of this, taking it the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step, grounded deeply in what we need as citizens and what our fellow citizens need, and grounded deeply in data. So human stories and actual data that tell us what the next step should be. Of all the things I could be excited about today, the entrepreneurial spirit here, the partnerships, the way you've all come together on this afternoon to be part of this, what's going to come out of this program, which I can't wait to see. That spirit of true collaboration based in empathy and respect is the most compelling thing for me. So I just want to thank my friends and cousins in this movement for making this happen, because it's something I'm just delighted to be able to be a very small part of. Thanks, Jeremy.
Really, just to emphasize, like the departments that have participated from our partner cities, from San Francisco throughout this process, the time that you're spending, the work that you're doing and collaborating, scoping, thinking outside the box on a lot of these different ideas and solutions. Really eager, looking forward to working with you throughout this program. I see so many friendly faces from the departments, and I'm really looking forward to getting out of, moving on from kickoff day and actually getting to work. So thank you to everyone.